Your presenters today are Ryan Williams and Zach Gollop. These are two of our media analytics specialists. Ryan is an account executive with LexisNexis, and he works with marketing, PR, and corporate communication professionals in a variety of industries. He has a passion for finding new ways of looking at data for deeper insights and has helped many clients integrate Newsdesk into their workflow. Zach is a product manager with LexisNexis, and he's held a variety of positions over his 13-year tenure with the company, including editorial, sales, and client services. Zach is focused on having a deep understanding of our customers and how they use Newsdesk in order to drive innovation and development. So now we're ready to kick off the presentation. I'm going to pass it over to Ryan.
Thanks, Sarah, and I appreciate everyone joining out there. We have some pretty good insights here to talk about media intelligence. So I'd like to just dive in to give you a little bit of background as we start with us as a company and LexisNexis and where we're coming from. So LexisNexis has been a pioneer and a leader in the information curation industry for more than 40 years now. And our mission is to provide our customers with information and the technology in order to make better business decisions. And recently, with the acquisition of a company called More Technologies, we are now also a leading provider of media monitoring and analytics capabilities with the launch of LexisNexis Newsdesk, which we'll be showing you later today. And it's really built as a comprehensive global media monitoring and analytics solution for all your research needs. So with LexisNexis Newsdesk, we're helping our customers make data-driven decisions faster and easier with a solution that helps you search, analyze, and share media intelligence from all across the world. So as you know, content nowadays is no longer transpiring in one space. Information is constantly being created and constantly being consumed by people all over the world. Millions of news stories, releases, tweets, videos, blogs are out there, many of which are relevant to your business, but many also creates a lot of unwanted noise that needs to be filtered out. So how do you filter out that noise? In order to keep a competitive advantage in the marketplace, you need to stay on top of everything that's going on across all these different media spaces. So how do you stay in the know? How do you know what your competition is doing? How do you know what they're saying? What are the current news and events going on in your industry? How do you spot trends quickly? Are you taking the time to focus on identifying key influencers and brand ambassadors and spokespeople? Are you monitoring what emerging technologies are out there, or emerging organizations are coming in and building up in the industry? How do you report on the key metrics that are important to you? Are you measuring coverage of competitors or tracking a share of voice between those that are important in your industry? Are you tracking the sentiment around how that's being talked about and what the media is saying? And are you sharing insights with those colleagues? How do you actually then make a decision? How do you share this with the key executives or key stakeholders across the organization? And so you do all this, in our minds, through the understanding and focusing on media intelligence. So media intelligence is capturing and reviewing and synthesizing the insights that you uncover from analyzing large volumes of media content. Monitoring and analyzing what is being said in the news or on social media about a brand, a company, an individual, an industry can all help shape your marketing strategy in a variety of different ways. So media intelligence can help you uncover who's speaking about your brand. What's the competition saying? What are your customers saying? What are industry experts saying? It might help you identify some of those key influencers that you need to then engage with or promote with or to. What are people saying about my brand? Are they turning these? Can we turn these into sales points? Can we turn them into ways for our business or our key executives to become thought leaders in the industry? How does the perception of my brand change by region? Are there differences geographically, or across time, and can you identify patterns over time? Are there certain regions that embrace my brand more? Do I need to continue to reach out to them to promote us in a positive light like they are? or are there others that need extra focus on that we're not paying attention to that we should lean a little extra, advertising to or market towards? And again, what's your overall sentiment from there? Is it positive? Is it negative? How can we change that perception to be beneficial to our business? And are there any gaps or new markets out there that are pushing an emerging market that we should go to reach an untapped consumer of whatever it is that we want to reach them with? So long story short, I mean, media intelligence is not simple, right? There's a lot of media content, media types out there that you need to stay on top of in order to optimize, what it is that you're trying to do, optimize your findings, and then analyze the results you find to share with your executives and other key stakeholders within your department and within your organization. So how many people would it take to do all that researching, do all that analyzing, do all that communicating? Think about how many media subscriptions you would need to pay for the individual licenses or individual vendor platforms to do each one of these, and at a premium price at that, because it's only doing one at a time. So the good news, and why we're glad that you guys joined today's call, is because LexisNexis now has a solution that does most of that work for you, consolidating all the media types, consolidating all those different licenses and vendor requirements into one platform to help streamline some of those processes and then eliminate some of that noise that's out there. So now we'd like to focus on LexisNexis' platform, which is called Newsdesk. So first and foremost, Lexis Newsdesk consolidates all the media types out there, whether it be from online web, licensed print and traditional news, social media, social networks, blogs, offline broadcast content, meaning TV and radio content, and funnels it all into a single solution so that you can search, analyze, and share the relevant business intelligence that you find through there. Newsdesk can help you track relevant content, and then with the global collection of our data, it eliminates the need for you to manage any of the amount of individual licenses out there, because it's all in one place. It's all consolidated for you. You don't have to go out and grab others, at individual premiums at that. And so once you've got the media information identified that's important to you, Newsdesk also helps you, slice and dice that data, sift through the noise to then uncover true insights that are relevant to you and your business, and then analyze those results so that you can report on those key metrics through different visualizations, charts, and graphs. But also then you need to push out whatever is relevant and share that information with those key stakeholders. And so Newsdesk offers a variety of ways of doing that, whether it be through simple email alerts and newsletters, some additional functionality like RSS exports or other type of exports so that you can push information and share those insights to those that matter and those that need it the most. So we're going to dive into each one of these a little bit more detail. So when we talk about searching content, it can be pretty daunting. If we think about how much data is out there and how much information is out there, we're generating over 5 million articles a day. I don't know about you, but I'd have a really hard time trying to read 5 million articles. So at the core, our expertise and our backend is really on the content curation and wheeling it down to harvesting the right data from the right countries, from the right sources in the right languages, in order to give you a comprehensive content collection in the same normalized form. And so then once we've harvested all that data, we then enrich it. And so we normalize all the text, enrich it with different indexing and different taxonomies, so that you have different tags of entities and countries and people in order to quickly read through and quickly filter through that information. We apply different tags, whether it be like sentiment, positive, negative, neutral scales, whether it be like a Moz rank, which is a link popularity score, whether it be geographic information down to the city and zip code level, and a variety of others that we can drill into in more detail. But the whole point is to make this easier to sift through that 5 million articles in a matter of just a couple clicks compared to trying to take it on all yourself and reading every single site. And so when we're talking about all those different media types, we really, again, that's a lot of time. And so when we pick up that many articles, we need to save time of actually reading it and spend more of our time actually analyzing what's being said in those articles. So again, when we look at this content, when it's coming from over 100 different countries and in 75 different languages, we need to leverage the near real-time coverage that's coming in so that we can identify emerging trends or respond quickly to different market developments that are going on. We need to stay abreast of any broadcast coverage that's coming in 24/7 because what's being said on broadcast could mean a lot more to my brand than something that's in a blog somewhere else and reacting to it. And so we can monitor over 2,000 different TV stations all across the world and every DMA, all 210 DMAs within the U.S. We track that buzz on social media to understand who those thought leaders are on blogs, through podcasts, through social networks and Twitters and Facebooks of the world, and different video sharing sites. And we also have the broadest licensed print content database to pick up not only what's in the online space, which a lot of our content is coming from today, but also what's being said in traditional media and in those newspapers, and are they saying the same thing across both of it? So, if you use something like a Google or trying to do all this on your own, you're missing a lot of the content that can be found out there that these other platforms and these other, free services, in a sense, are not able to provide you the full picture. So as we move over to the insights part of that, obviously we've got all the data in one spot. We've got it in an easy way to understand, ingest, and read. Now we're in a day and age that you need to take your media monitoring to the next level. You can no longer just be doing press clips and saying, hey, here's where our company was mentioned in the newspaper. That's great and that's still a part of it, but that really needs to you really need to tell a story to your executive that says, this is the mention and this is why it's important and this is what I recommend we do as a next step because of it. So Newsdesk helps you listen to everything and be able to make better business decisions from that data about what the relevant results and also spotting those trends that are important and that you're noticing in the industry. And so, like I had mentioned, you can create different charts and graphs from these relevant media feeds in just a couple clicks, and then download those results in multiple different formats to push into some sort of report that you're going to deliver to your executive. You could explore different breakdowns of this data, again, whether it be by country or by language, maybe the source rank or the media types, and a number of other different entity breakdowns from there. And so Newsdesk allows you to conduct those share of voice graphs to see how is your company performing relative to its competitors, or allow you to assess any of your marketing efforts, and are you generating coverage because of something that you pushed, or is it something more organic that's being pushed by the media that then you need to build a campaign around from there? And build that mind share with your consumers and with your market, because you can understand now some of the general themes through maybe some word cloud visualizations that will display who the dominant people are, or the key companies, organizations, or trending products that are being talked about in these different articles. And when you look at, trying to uncover where in the world this data is coming from, you can incorporate something like a geo map to understand and look at the whole globe. Where is the buzz coming from that's talking about your company or your product or your campaign that you're pushing? And all of a sudden, are you noticing that the markets that you're targeting are picking it up, or are there some others that you didn't know about that now you should know, and frankly, maybe now you want to go, push a campaign towards an emerging country or an emerging market from there. And so with all the media in one place, it allows you to be able to uncover, what is the news saying versus what is the blog saying versus what is social media saying, and are the signals in all those different areas aligned? Are they saying the same sentiment? Is someone posting something in social media that then news and blogs react to afterwards, and then lastly it gets pushed to someone on TV, CNN, to do a story about it? Or is something being pushed in a premier news source that then people on Twitter or people in blogs react to afterwards, and therefore that's where you actually gain the momentum in the market for your campaign? without having all the media in one space, you can't really identify those signals in a consistent way. So Newsdesk, because we've married all the data together and consolidated it all on one platform for you, we can analyze it all together in that one space, in that one chart, so you can really drive insights across media types, across countries, across topics, very easily and very quickly. And so lastly, again, as once you've analyzed that data, now you got to share it with somebody. Hopefully you're not holding it on to yourself. So we want to share it through a variety of different ways so that you can deliver the right information. So Newsdesk can manage that distribution for you, again, through some simple email alerts or newsletters that could be custom branded for you as a company or maybe for your clients if you're pushing it to them. You can create different custom RSS feeds to be pushed to any sort of intranet site or maybe an existing portal or widget that your company may have that you guys all collaborate on. You want to provide, real-time news directly to your executives, so pushing out maybe some breaking coverage alerts, as often as every 15 minutes, or maybe to a mobile app, so that any time throughout the day, your executive doesn't have to wait for an email to come through the next morning. They can simply get the latest trends, the latest headlines, and the latest stories from the industry directly on their phone in a mobile app version, since nowadays everything is on the go, and we want information faster and faster and faster. So all that being said, there's ways to collaborate and use Newsdesk as a workflow tool to collaborate amongst team members, to collaborate amongst different departments, and even throughout the entire company and organization. And so as we've spoken to Newsdesk at a pretty high level, I'd like to actually pass the ball now to my colleague Zach, who's going to walk you through Newsdesk in more of a live action demo, so you can get a look and feel for how the platform actually works in real time. So Zach, I'll pass this to you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
Okay. So thank you very much for that, Ryan. I thought you had some really great insights there. Now it's over to me, Zach, and thank you, Sarah, for the introduction earlier. And I'm going to kind of give you a fairly quick, high-level walkthrough demo of Newsdesk. And I'm really going to try and focus on the capabilities that Ryan's just given us some details about and spoken about in his slides. I think the first thing to say is Newsdesk has many, many, many different features that kind of really help you find the exact content you're looking for. Newsdesk is great at really kind of drilling down to the precision information that you need. Today I'm not going to go into every single little detail, but I'm going to keep it fairly high level. But I'm going to tell you how you can search in Newsdesk, how you can then take content that you found and analyze it, and as Ryan mentioned before, kind of hopefully help you uncover different trends or possibly measure things like ROI, and get some really nice visualizations out of Newsdesk, and then share that content. Like I said, I'm not going to cover every single little detail today, but if you see things you like the look of Newsdesk and you'd like to have a more personalized demo in the future, please do let us know and we can kind of customize something for you at a future date. I think to start off, I should really stress that Newsdesk is kind of focused on 4 key areas. We have dashboard area, we have search, we have analyze, and we have share. And to begin with, I'm just going to dive straight into the dashboards. So dashboards, what they're really, really great at is they're like a great visual introduction to Newsdesk. They're the perfect place to showcase information, to showcase content that you've kind of created in Newsdesk and then share it with others. Here I'm looking at my dashboard. So this is content that's personal to me. My dashboard is only visible by me, so it's all kind of unique to me. It's pertinent to me as an individual. It's tied to my content over here on the left. So if I just pop open this folder, this is content, again, that's unique to me. It's content that's relevant to me as an individual. But if I kind of move down slightly, we have this shared content area. This is what we call in the left-hand tree. So if I click on shared content, this is content that's shared across an account. So again, if I move over to the top here and I click on the shared dashboard, this is shared dashboard across an entire account. And whether you have 2 users on your Newsdesk account or possibly 2,000, everybody would see this exact same shared content. It's completely customizable, so you can kind of drag and drop these widgets around like so. It's permissionable, so you might only have a handful of admin users, whereas most users are read-only. But it's really, really powerful to kind of share content across a company. Also, while we're on the subject of dashboards, I should probably just point out you can have multiple dashboards with multiple different permissions. So if I click on this project team one here. This one could possibly have a smaller audience. Maybe it's only got a handful of different users. And again, it's great for sharing content within a particular project team or possibly geographically. So you might have one dashboard for people in the US, another dashboard for people in Europe, that type of thing. But before you can kind of start playing around with these great-looking dashboards, you really need to create a search. You really need to create content that you can display on them. So now I'm going to jump to the search tab. Hopefully people on the call are fairly familiar with Boolean. So I'm quickly going to type in a search term. I'm going to stay with the baseball theme we've been using. I'm going to type baseball and again put in my Boolean. Baseball and MLB. These are my search terms. You can add ands, ors, nots, and you can get fairly complicated if you wish to, but for now we're going to keep it quite simple. I think the important thing before we run our search is kind of decide what media do we want to run it over. By default today, I've got news selected, so this is online news. This is things like CNN.com. We've got BBC.co.uk in the UK. We have a variety of different websites across the globe. I think we have about 55,000 different websites covering a number of different languages, all the way from kind of national coverage down to real local, quite industry-specific coverage as well. We also have blogs. We have comments. That's comments on blogs or comments on news sites. Social networks, this is where you could expect to find Twitter or Facebook content. Videos are things like YouTube or Vimeo, forums, message boards. I'm going to select print content, and this is where we're going to find some of that kind of really rich LexisNexis license content and also broadcast. Broadcast is interesting because we give you the clip and then a transcript of content. So, for example, if your company or brand was mentioned on Good Morning America, before too long you could expect to see that clip here in Newsdesk. So I've selected my media types. I'm going to click on Advanced. I'm just going to maybe make a few more advanced filters on my search. So the first one here, emphasis, this allows you to maybe stick your keywords in the headline, which will kind of ensure you have a very high level of relevancy for your search. We have languages. I think for today we'll just stick with English, but you can see we have a wide variety of other languages you could run your search over. We have locations. So in fact, today I'm just going to scroll down the location list. And I think we're going to refine this search just the United States. So here we go. I will now take the United States, drag it into this box here. Now this means when we run this search in a second, it's only going to return articles from the United States. We also have sources, so you could specify individual sources you might want to restrict your search to. We have source lists, so if you have a particular a lot of customers maybe have a list of kind of 10, 50, even 100 key top-tier sources. You can build a source list around those particular top-tier publications. We have topics, which is more of a categorization that will kind of take articles and put them into various industry buckets. You can apply a date range to your search. By default, Newsdesk runs over 100 days, but you can maybe limit it to the past 24 hours if you were monitoring a kind of a breaking subject, for example. Duplicates, if you want to cut out duplicates, and then we have a few extras as well, things like will allow you to exclude subscription sources, for example. So if I just close the Advanced tab there, and I just run this search, there you can see quite quickly the search has returned me results, and we see we've got quite a large number of results there, 61,000. So if that were too many, we could kind of go back into our search and add more Boolean filters if we wanted. We could add more advanced filters. Or we could use here on the right what we call the refine panel, and we could refine our results. So, for example, if you can see here, article sentiment, if I only wanted articles that have been tagged as positive, I could click positive. I could then rerun my search and it would only return articles that have been flagged as positive. Equally, if I click this source one here, it will just update for a second, and then it's going to give me a nice breakdown of the sources being captured in my search. So if I wanted to focus in on one particular source, ESPN, for example, I could click that, rerun my search, and it would only return articles from ESPN. Another thing I do quickly want to mention is what we're calling the information control panel. I think you can see when I hover over an article, it lights up at the top here. This gives us kind of various bits of metadata that are often really useful when refining or trying to understand your results. For example, over here right on the left, this is the overall tonality of the article. So we can see this article here was overall it's a positive article. The next three thumbs here, we have 14 positive entities, no negative ones, and 6 neutral entities, and entities in this regard are kind of companies, their people, their places, and their products that Newsdesk kind of extracted from the article, and it said, okay, in this article there's 14 positive entities. We also have source country, which hopefully you remember earlier. I restricted this search just to the United States, so you can see here we've got the little stars and stripes to indicate this is a US article. We also have keyword matches, so if we look at my keywords up in the search box here, baseball and Major League Baseball, we can see in this article those 2 keywords were mentioned. We also have MozRank, which I think Ryan mentioned on his slides as well, which is a kind of a link authority. I think it runs from 0 to 10. So the higher the MozRank, possibly the more influential the source is because more people are linking to it. We also have Clout Score, which is not applicable for these particular articles because I didn't include Twitter, but if you're including tweets in your results, you'd get the Clout Score for the individual user. We also have various options down the bottom. We have things like tagging and commenting. Tagging will allow you to apply your own classification to articles, which can be really useful if you have your own kind of taxonomy that you want to apply to Newsdesk articles. Comments, some of our customers really love using this feature actually to kind of generate a discussion in Newsdesk around a particular article, so people will kind of use it almost as a social news type tool to kind of start talking and dissecting an article within Newsdesk. Then we have various other things like archive. So as I mentioned before, Newsdesk runs to 100 days by default, but if you archive an article, it will live in Newsdesk for up to a year. Then you can also email or share articles. I think once you're happy with your search results, the sensible thing to do is hit save up at the top here. You can give your feed a sensible name. Then you can select from this little menu where you want to save it, and then simply hit save, and it's going to send your saved search into the left-hand tree over here. And once you've done that, it's probably time you want to think about doing something a bit cleverer with your saved search, and maybe you want to analyze it, which takes us to the Analyze tab. So when you start off in Analyze, you'll be taken to this landing screen here. It gives you various options on how do you want to start off your analysis. You can start off by selecting the search you want to work with or searches. You could pick the particular chart or charts you're interested in beginning with. We've got a number of preset templates that will kind of pick some predefined charts to help you use. But today, I think I'm going to look at one I've saved earlier, so I'm going to click on Saved. Here's all my previously saved analysis. You can see I've got just a few here in this account, and I'm going to click on MLB Analysis. Give the charts a second or two to load. And you can see I've already got a fairly nice looking work area here with a couple of charts. I've got a coverage over time. I've got a media type breakdown. I've got a top sources breakdown, and I also have a kind of nice looking topics word cloud that's starting to help me make a little bit of sense of my Major League Baseball coverage. We do have a little bit of space here, so I think we will quickly add another chart to our work area. So I'm going to click on Charts up here. As Ryan mentioned in his slide, we have various different metrics we can measure in Newsdesk. We have things like companies mentioned, organizations mentioned, people mentioned. So this is where Newsdesk, again, is extracting this information from the articles, and then you can visualize them in these charts. We have different influence metrics, the various location ones, so it's the location of the source or possibly the location mentioned in an article. But I think for today we're going to look at sentiment. I'm going to select article sentiment. So it's added this chart to my work area. You might see the chart's a little bit faded at the moment because we need to add some data to it. So I think the simplest thing to do is if I click searches at the top, I take my search and I drag it all the way down here, and my chart really quickly and easily just re-renders now with that Major League Baseball search that we were looking at earlier. One thing I'd like to mention, we do have quite a number of different chart types. So if I click on chart type here, it brings up a little menu of lots of different charts we can apply to this search. I think we're going to change it from this kind of semicircle donut, and we're going to change it to a stacked bar. So you can see like that. You can kind of very quickly and easily change the visualization type. With that, I think we're fairly happy with this analysis. So probably what we want to think about next is the export options. So you might notice each little chart has a little hamburger menu up at the top here. If I click that, it's got various different options. You can download the chart, so you can download it as a PNG, which is great for just dropping into slides, presentations, or into PDFs. You can also download the kind of raw data behind the chart. That's an Excel file. It has a huge amount of data in there, or lots of different metrics. You can also download these actually as code. You can then embed them on your website or on a blog, for example, and then the charts look very similar to how they do in Newsdesk. You can kind of interact with them on your own website, which is a pretty cool little feature. We've also got various sharing options. You can add them to alerts or newsletters, which we will come to in a moment. You can email them just as a one-off, as an individual chart. Also, you can send them to the dashboards that we kind of started out looking at a few minutes ago. You can also send them to my content or shared content as well. I think now we're kind of, we're fairly happy. We've created some searches we like. We've created some charts we like. I think now it's probably time to dive into share and look at some of the other sharing options we have in Newsdesk. So if I click on share along the top here, to begin with, we'll really quickly look at alerts. And I really like alerts, and the reason I like them is because they're really simple and they kind of get me the information that I need. So if I click on this new alert here, it's really simple. You give your alert a name, you put in the recipients, you've got various different options here you can play around with, but you just need to pick content that you're interested in. So in this case, I'm just going to take a saved search that I've saved into the left-hand tree. I'm going to drag it into my alert like so. You could drag a chart in as well. You could drag a number of other saved searches. And then if I scroll down ever so slightly, I just need to set a send time for it. So again, I think Ryan mentioned this. This is particularly useful if you're kind of doing some kind of crisis monitoring, or you've got a massive situation in your hands. You can set these alerts to go as frequently as 15 minutes. So if you're monitoring coverage on something, you add that search to an alert and you set it to go daily at 15 minutes. If there's any new news that you need to know about, you know that Newsdesk is going to tell you within 15 minutes. And that's really useful. You simply set that, you click add, you click save, and then that's it. In the next 15 minutes or so, you're going to get an alert from Newsdesk. Okay, so if I click back, I'm now going to look at newsletters. Very, very similar functionality to alerts, but the power of newsletters is you can customize them. So I probably should have mentioned alerts are fairly basic. They're quite plain, but with alerts you can kind of really customize them, really make them look quite nice. So again, we've got our feed here. You can drag in a chart as well. I've set my recipients. Now, sorry, let's quickly go back. I want to look at this newsletter, my enhanced one. So again, I've set my recipients. I've selected my content. I've got some send times here, but I want to preview this one. So I'm going to click on edit and send. And it should just give us a really quick example of how you can customize the newsletter. So this one, we've stuck with our MLB theme. It's customized in the kind of color scheme of Major League Baseball. We've got a little logo in there. So this is hopefully really great for kind of all you marketing type folks. If you need to send information, whether it's internally or possibly to your clients, you can customize it so it looks right for the audience that you're sending it to. So you can also manually send it from here if you want to kind of manually check over an email before you send it, kind of just give it that last editorial look over. You can do that and then send it from here. If I click cancel, I've got these various scheduled send times as well. And then lastly on the exports, I just really quickly want to touch on the export tab here. And this is RSS export. So hopefully you're fairly familiar with RSS. So if I click export here, it's going to give me an RSS link, and that's kind of great. You can use it. We have many customers actually use it to power widgets on their intranets or on their internet sites. We even have some customers who use these RSS feeds to power mobile apps as well. But this is another way to kind of export all that kind of really specific content you've managed to get out of Newsdesk. Is another way to get it out of Newsdesk once you've discovered it. That was a fairly quick and pacey run-through of Newsdesk, but I hope it kind of gave you a sense of some of the things you can achieve in Newsdesk. Hopefully I told you can obviously not only help you stay informed of what's going on, but help you to make some sense of it as well. Because I think Ryan, this is one of the points that Ryan made really well, I thought, is there's so much content and news and media out there. Hopefully Newsdesk can help you make a little bit of sense of it, particularly with analyse. And then once you have made sense of it, you can then share it. You could share it just with yourself, or you can share it with a wider audience with one of those nice customized newsletters, or even with the RSS as well. I'm now going to pass you back to Ryan, who's going to kind of take you through a couple of customer examples who use Newsdesk to influence their marketing plans.
Thanks, Zach. Great demo there. Appreciate you doing that. So yeah, Zach said, lastly, we just want to leave you with a couple use cases here about how some other customers in the marketing space have used Newsdesk, have used our data to understand different topics or track different campaigns that's important to them. And so the first one here is just is one that we've worked primarily for more of a competitive intelligence type of campaign, but trying to help a brand within the smartphone industry understand what its other competitors are doing, how they're positioning themselves in the industry, which is ever so changing nowadays, and identify some of those key influencers in that industry so they knew who to push product reviews to, who to engage with from a PR perspective maybe, or what other campaigns they are doing are effective or ineffective and need to be able to track those measurables. So over a number of different weeks and a few months, they use Newsdesk to monitor their own company and their own products and their own brand, as well as those of their top 5 competitors and the brands and the products associated with those companies. And so they track different product launches that occurred during the course of those weeks and months, both for themselves and how the media reacted to their own launches, but also trying to track the patterns of their competitors to understand. Competitor X typically delivers a product launch maybe at the beginning of every quarter. Competitor Y does updates maybe once a month or every couple of months. And so they're able to identify different patterns and then the reactions of those consumers and how they took to the launches and the different products and how they felt about them, whether they're buying them, whether they're unhappy with certain features and functions that then maybe this brand could develop in their next smartphone or use as leverage to push to executives and say, hey, this is how customers are reacting to our products or competing products, and here's a campaign I think we can release against it. And so in the midst of all that, something pretty cool that was developed was they were able to uncover a top celebrity that they noticed was a big brand ambassador of their product and for their brand. So they were able to have their communications team and their marketing team go actually sign this celebrity to an endorsement to proactively reach out to new audiences and new markets for where this celebrity was influential, where they had a big following, and was able to gain some market share and gain some product share away from their competitors that were in that market, all because of the fact they were able to uncover that this was a key influencer that was going to have a big impact on their brand and then their reputation in the market and within the industry, and therefore being able from there to track the campaign since then and show the success of that, the investment to work with that celebrity really paid off from an ROI standpoint. The second use case here is actually, again, a really nice one, an interesting one, where we worked with a big retail brand store to use Newsdesk to help uncover some different insights that they could gather around a pretty hot shopping event in Black Friday. So that their point and their need for this use case here was to identify any trends that were going on about Black Friday, identify different hot topics, trending products, and what other retail stores in the area and in the business or in the industry were promoting and what they were advocating, so that this retail brand specifically knew what they should be promoting instead, or how to combat what some of their competitors are doing. So during their media monitoring period, and they use a 6-week period in this use case, for instance, to track this before the event, and then during the event, and then the next 3 weeks following the event, to get also, part of Cyber Monday involved as well, as that's a whole different kind of campaign, but they wanted to see how the two of those compared. And so they used different Newsdesk searches to track Twitter conversations about them as a brand, but also about the top 10 products that they thought would be best sellers or they thought were trending at the time based off of other research they had done using news articles and stuff that were hot topics in previous years and in the leading months leading up to Black Friday. And so they're also looking for any other trending products that they weren't on their radar that they should know about. And maybe someone really wanted a new TV, for instance, that they should go out and promote more. So they're able to uncover some of that stuff. And then lastly, able to read different customer reactions, consumer reactions of where they were actually trying to purchase this. Nowadays with a lot of people getting away from the big box retail stores, now trying to do all their shopping online, this brand in particular really wanted to know where could they expect their consumers to actually buy these products that they're promoting. Were they going to buy it on Black Friday? Were they going to wait till Cyber Monday where they could try to get before or after when sales go on, and get a gauge for those reactions from their customers? And so the outcome of this was they were able to promote the different trending products, one that they were aware of, but also it helped them identify different products that they weren't aware of and build some campaign and advertising strategies around that prior to the event so that they could still sell off the products that they wanted to. And they were also able to advise the executives to make a quick change in their store hours for that Friday. So they actually decided to open up early based off of the reactions they read from consumers in different article comments and on blogging platforms, saying that people really wanted to not wait, to that midnight date, and so this retail brand actually decided to open store hours earlier because of that data that they found through Newsdesk searches. And lastly, they were then able to provide a 6-month worth of data and then collaborate that all and marry that all with whatever happened during the event, and then put some measurables to that to then build a report as a 2-month, basically post-recap report of the event to then deliver to the executives to say, here's how we did, and here are some benchmarks that then we can measure the event's success on, and where we really got our ROI from what we did as a marketing group and what we advertised to these customers and in these markets. So pretty cool thing, really cashing in on those different trends, cashing in on the competition, and really being kind of a strategic tactics of how to outflank the competition and tap into untapped markets or unhappy customers and really gain more of that market share that they're after. So 2 pretty quick and easy use cases, but I think they can resonate and they can be applied to a number of different topics, a number of different industries as it pertains. So I hope these do resonate with you. And so even though these are just a few examples, we would love to be able to share more of this information with you, a number of different other use cases as it pertains to your specific industry or your specific topic that you're working on right now. And so now at this time, we'd love to open the lines back up for any questions that you may have, and we'll be happy to answer anything there. So I think it's easiest if you hit *6 to unmute yourself, or if you prefer just to write it in the chat box on the right-hand side, we can have Sarah moderate the Q&A, and then myself or Zach will be happy to give you any answers based off our experience. So thank you for taking the time to listen through this, and now we'll open the lines back up.
Thanks, Ryan. So we did have one question coming through the chat, so we can go ahead and address that one. And if anyone else has a question, please go ahead and submit that through. The question is, for PR professionals, what types of metrics can we offer within Newsdesk, specifically related to showing ROI? I don't know, Ryan, do you want to address that first?
Yeah, absolutely. And Zach, you can feed off of some others as far as other metrics that we're working on. But based off my experience in the PR space, nowadays there's definitely some standards, whether it be like impressions, and so we can provide metrics like global reach or total reach of how many unique visitors per month went onto a website or viewed an article or something like that. So you can track that impression value. There's other metrics if you look into different pieces of content, like broadcast content, for instance, when we'll provide viewership data and value and ad values as it relates to that that segment or that program that was aired at any given time. And so then really just a matter of customizing those metrics to what it is that you're ultimately trying to measure and report on. Because frankly, in our experience, every single person is different, and every different PR user has a different way of measuring and tracking these key performance indicators or KPIs, and using those as benchmarks. So some have different formulas that they track the impressions. Some like different metrics altogether. Again, we can use stuff like MozRank if you're looking into how popular of a source there was. We could try to customize a emphasis score that we've done with other groups by creating a custom formula on the back end, taking into consideration a number of different metrics. And then when you look at Twitter, again, Zach had mentioned it, but you can follow Clout Score, so you can track relevance and popularity of a user or of a tweeter in that sense. But there's a number of other metrics, and so it's really customized to individual users. But those are a few that I think could be helpful out of the box.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I mean, I think you covered it really nicely there. I did quickly want to add, and I completely forgot to mention this in my demo, we are looking to add impressions data in early Q3. add that into Newsdesk, so you'd be able to see it there in your search results. You'd be able to kind of refine your searches based on it, and also chart on it in Analyze as well, and kind of create some visualizations based on impressions as well.
Well, I don't see any other questions, so I think at this point that probably concludes the webinar for today. I'd like to thank everyone for joining. I hope that you got something out of this, learned a little bit more about media intelligence, and saw what Newsdesk has to offer in that space. If you need more information, would like more information, we'd be happy to do a personalized demo. There's a URL up here on the screen. You can also chat us on Twitter, and we're going to be sending you a short survey here now to get some additional input from you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.